You know, we use websites literally every single day. But have you ever stopped to wonder what's actually going on behind the screen? It can feel like this big, complicated mystery. Well, today, we're going to pry open that box and see exactly how the web gets built, piece by piece.
And that really brings us to the big question, right? How on earth does a simple text file, just lines of code, get transformed into the beautiful, interactive websites that we use for everything? Let's break down that magic.
Okay, probably the easiest way to wrap your head around all this is with a simple analogy. Think of a website as a person. Seriously, it has a skeleton for its structure, it has clothes and a unique style for its appearance, and it has a brain and muscles that let it do things. Just keep that idea in your head as we go through this.
So, first things first, every person and every single website needs a solid foundation, right? A structure to hold everything together. This is our first layer, the skeleton, and in the world of the web, that skeleton is called HTML.
So what is HTML? Well, it stands for Hypertext Markup Language, which is a mouthful, I know. Just think of it as the language that creates a web page's structure. It couldn't care less about colors or fancy fonts. Its only job is to provide the raw framework, the bones of the page. Put it this way, if you don't have HTML, you don't have a website, period.
Okay, but how does it do that? How does it build the structure? It uses these little things called tags to define different elements on the page. You basically wrap your content, your words, your images, in these tags to tell the web browser what each piece is. You can say, hey, this chunk of text is the main heading, or this part over here is a paragraph. It's literally like putting labels on the bones of the skeleton.
All right, let's zoom in a little and see what this looks like in practice. See these things in the angle brackets? Those are the tags. They open and close to define the content inside. The whole package, the opening tag, the content, and the closing tag, is called an element. But look at this extra bit of information here, this href. That's an attribute. It gives the element extra powers, like in this case, telling a link exactly which website to go to when you click it.
Okay, so we've got our skeleton. It's functional, right? But let's be honest, it's not exactly pretty. Now it's time to add the style, the skin, the clothes, the whole personality that's going to make our website unique. And that brings us to layer 2.
And that is where CSS, or Cascading Style Sheets, comes into play. CSS is the language that controls a website's entire look and feel. We're talking colors, fonts, layout, you name it. And that word, cascading, it's actually pretty important. It just means that styles are applied in a specific order of priority, kind of like a waterfall. So more specific rules will always win out over more general ones, which gives you amazing control over the final look.
And this slide, wow, this really says it all, doesn't it? On the left, that is what a website looks like with only HTML. All structure, zero style. It works, but yikes. But then you add CSS, and bam! Look at the difference. It completely transforms the page into something that's actually nice to look at, something vibrant and engaging.
So how do you actually get these styles onto the page?
Well, there are a few ways. You can apply a style inline, which means you put it right inside a single HTML element, or you can put styles internally, right at the top of your HTML file. But the most common way, the way most pros do it, is to link to an external style sheet. That way you keep all your design rules neatly organized in their own separate file.
All right, our website now has a solid skeleton and a great sense of style. But it's still kind of like a mannequin in a store window. It looks good, but it can't do anything. It can't react. It can't interact with you. It's time to add the brain and the muscles to really bring our creation to life.
And that, my friends, is the job of JavaScript, or JS for short. Now, unlike HTML and CSS, JavaScript is a full-on programming language. Its main role in this trio is to make websites interactive. So, if HTML is the skeleton and CSS is the appearance, you can think of JavaScript as the brains and the muscles that provide all the actions.
So what does that actually mean? Well, think about any website you use. You know when you see an image slideshow that automatically cycles through pictures? Or when you fill out a form and it instantly tells you your password is too weak? Or when you see new content load on a page without the whole thing having to refresh? Yep, that's all JavaScript at work.
Okay, let's see this in action with a super simple example. Here we have a basic page. It's got some HTML for structure and a button. If you were to click this button right now, absolutely nothing would happen. It's just sitting there. It's just for show because there's no action logic attached to it yet. But now, check this out. We add a tiny little snippet of JavaScript. All this code does is create a simple function that tells the browser, hey, when someone clicks that button, I want you to change the text in that paragraph. And just like that, with only a few lines of code, our static page springs to life. It's now interactive. So, we've looked at the skeleton, the style, and the action. But the real magic, the absolute key to understanding the modern web, is that these three technologies are almost never used by themselves. They are a team, they are a trio, and they completely depend on each other. And this table really just puts it all together perfectly. It all comes back to our person analogy, right? HTML is the skeleton. Its job is to create the structure. CSS is the appearance. Its job is to stylize the website. And JavaScript provides the actions, making the whole thing interactive. Each one has a distinct role, and they are at their best when they all work together.
And that's really the key takeaway here. It doesn't matter if you're looking at a simple personal blog or a massive complex shopping site like Amazon. Underneath it all, deep down, it's always this same fundamental trio, HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, working together to build the web experience you see on your screen.
So there you have it. The secret is out. You now understand the three fundamental building blocks of the entire web. This is the foundation for everything you see online. The only question left is, now that you know how it works, what are you going to create?